I am back with another Scraptember prompt for you guys today, and the prompt for today is a white background. And I don't know about you guys, but that is scary for me. So I have all of these photos from a wedding of our friends that we went to, as well as this beautiful white cut file that I received in a kit, but I don't remember exactly which kit. I have no idea who even created it, you guys. I also have these pre-made little magnolias that have a little pearl in the center of them, as well as these pre-made magnolias that I received in a kit. And of course you had to curl the leaves and put them all together and whatnot, along with these other weird flowers and these leaves. They were all from a pre-made kit from several years ago. This one here has a shine to it because I took some glossy accents and ran my finger over it to make it look a little glossy like magnolia leaves are. I also have some paper glaze from Picket Fence. One is the fern green, which is my favorite, and the other one is brown dahlia. Also from that kit are those little twigs and whatnot in rose gold, Stickles glitter gel in nebula. And I lost the name and then I realized I already pointed it to you guys. I don't know what I was thinking, but there is the mixed media that I will be using on this layout. Here is my white background. It's just a piece of close to my heart cardstock. And then I'm going to use this beautiful rose gold paper as a frame for my wedding page. And the only reason why I did this is because my tree is not the full length of my white cardstock. So I wanted my tree to kind of be framed in. So what I did was I gutted my beautiful brushed metallic paper from Stampin' Up! And I plan on using that as photo mats on my photos. That way I don't waste all of this beautiful paper. So then I'm going to move, once I have my background made, I'm going to move on to my tree, and I'm going to use my favorite tool in the whole wide world, which is my finger, and just take my brown dahlia from Paper Glaze and paint my tree. That's all I'm going to do. Now the reason why I like my finger is because as I pounce, I get the peaks and valleys that I am looking for, especially to texture my tree. So then in these smaller areas, I'm going to bring out this small little paint palette or paint knife. Palette knife is what it's called. And again, just tap, tap, tap instead of brush, brush, brush to get that texture of tree bark. And I'm going to be leaving the leaves white for now because I'm going to come back in and actually paint them with the fern green that I have picked out. So that way I give it a little bit of two-tone. So I wanted to leave this whole process in so that way you guys can see. I'm not really sure, you know, should I twist it? Should I turn it? Should I do this? Should I do that? But it is pretty simple. It went along really, really quickly in my opinion. And the best part about this paper glaze, you guys, and it is my most favorite part about this paper glaze, is it is fast drying. It is not too wet. It is not too dry. It doesn't warp my paper like most, what are these called? Pastes do, because they are a little on the thick side and they take a long time to dry. That is because they got your base page wet and it's going to warp as it dries. But these guys here, no warping whatsoever. This is amazing stuff. I absolutely love this. And I will try to do some research and try to find what cut file this is. If I do find it, the listing will be down below. If I don't, I apologize. I just never found out what cut file this was. But I did cut off the little birdhouses that were hanging down because all I really wanted was the tree. Seriously, that's all I wanted. This is such a beautiful, beautiful tree branch that, you know, is going off to the side of my tree. You know what? Now that I think about it, I think somebody asked me for this cut file. So now I definitely have to look it up. I will have to look it up, you guys, and figure out where this cut file came from so I can put the link down below because I do remember somebody asking me for this specific style of tree branch. Okay. So almost done here, just getting into the tiny little nooks and crannies, but I definitely wanted to leave my greenery alone so that way I could go back later and fill those in. I definitely prefer my fingers more than this palette. So while I was spinning and turning and twisting my tree trunk, I flattened where my finger went and made the peaks and valleys. That was my own fault. So I'm just going back through really quickly and pouncing some more so that way I get the tree bark. Well, then I had this epiphany saying, hey, everything else is rose gold, so why don't I take my gilding wax from, where is that from? Dixie Belle Paint Company. Take my gilding wax and use it as a rub and buff and just rub all those peaks and valleys and get it to actually come in and, you know, have a little bit of texture. So this is actually copper gilding wax instead of the rose gold, but I still think it matches really, really well. But yes, I love how it looked. I only did a little bit at first. That way if I didn't like it, I could go back with my brown dahlia and cover it up. But I really ended up liking the texture and the look of this bark. So just going to finish it up really, really quickly. I'm not even worried if I'm going to get my leaves or not because of the fact that the green is dark enough that it's going to cover it up. So here is the green, and I had plenty of media on the little paper piece that it goes in the lid. So I'm going to work off of that until I cannot work off of it anymore, which is when I realized that I can't get my finger in without getting brown, you know, getting it on the brown. And it actually does show up really well on the brown, but not enough to where I was really worried about it, in all honesty. So going to go ahead and keep going with my finger. I'm pouncing because I want to give my leaves a lot of texture as well. And then I finally had to pull out my palette knife because I was getting into areas that I just could not get my finger onto. So I'm going to do that and finish off all of these leaves. And by the time that I am done with the very last leaf, this is dry, you guys. I don't have to set it aside. I don't have to wait. I don't have to do anything. I love this stuff. I love working with this stuff. And I love the texture of it too. It makes me feel like an artist when I actually have, you know, this beautiful tree that, yes, it was a cut file, but I painted it. I made it come to life. I gave it life. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. So last few leaves, and then I will hold it up close and personal so you guys can get a look at it and see what it all looks like with all of its texture, all of its, oh my gosh, I like it a lot. It came out better than I was expecting it to. So anyways, also too, I forgot to turn on the camera when I brought in the glitter gel from Stickles. So I wanted to show you guys where I applied it, and I applied it behind the tree. So that way I had a little bit of stars and a little bit of this and that amongst the tree and whatnot, and making it a little bit more fuller than what it originally was. Now I'm going to take these really large flowers, and I have to tell you guys that they are very three-dimensional at the moment, but when I lay them down into my album, they will lay down flat. All it is just bent paper. That's all it is. So I'm not too worried about the thickness of them now. I do like playing with them as thick as they are. But in my album, I do plan on putting a flip flap that I have already created. Again, I forgot to turn my camera on for that. But I already created my flip flap and was able to see, you know, what it looks like. But it's not going to be this dimensional. I promise. So I'm going to stick two of my magnolia leaves together and then stick them underneath this really large flower. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick my flower down where I want it. I'm not even worried about the fact that it's part of this stuff's going to get covered up by my flip flap. Nope, not worried about it one bit. But I wanted to make sure that I had all of these photos you know, to flip through instead of doing a 2-page layout. Now, yes, I could have done a 2-page layout. It would have been very, very beautiful. But honestly, we're just so proud of this man that got married. He is my husband's best friend. And I just thought that it was amazing. And the gal that he found to be his soulmate, she is an amazing person. And I'm so proud of them. I really, really am. And their life together, and I love the Snapchats that we do together, and it's just they're a blessing. Honestly, I don't know how else to do it without sounding really cheesy and going into too many details. But Evan, you made a great choice. You really, really did. And I'm very proud of him, really, honestly. And, mostly I'm proud because he waited for the right one. And that is what I'm proud of. It is just great. I love you both, honestly. So anyways, sappy stuff over. I'm going to go ahead and finish with my magnolia leaves. Now, I don't want to apply too many leaves. I don't want to take away from what I've done. But the effect that I wanted is I wanted this tree in the background, like way far in the background. And then the up close magnolias as if they have fallen off the tree and, graced us with their presence. That is where I was going with this whole thing. And I love the added little foliage. I still can't say that word. I love the added little berries and things that I'm putting on right now, because they really do just add a little something more to the layout. They add a little bit of movement to the layout. And so I definitely enjoyed adding those in there, but I didn't want to take away or, fill up the whole page. But now what I'm adding to the tree are my smaller magnolias, because of the fact that, like I said, I wanted the tree to look like it was in the background, and then the larger magnolias being like they fell down or they're falling down around us, kind of like how people throw, what are they called? Petals, flower petals. Around the bride and groom as they're coming out of the church or out of the down the aisle, and people are throwing those in celebration. That's the effect that I was going for. And I have to tell you guys that when I saw the prompt and it was a white page, I'm thinking, oh my stars, I don't know what to do. That scares the living daylights out of me to have a white page. So to change that, I added a little bit of mixed media. I added a cut file. I added things to my white page, but technically it was a white page. So I don't know if I cheated. Maybe I did, but I'm very proud of how this layout turned out. Like I said, the flowers right now do have a lot of dimension, but once they're in the album and actually, have that page protector over them, they do lay quite flat. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I had a blast creating this page. I absolutely love my tree the most. Just partially like my tree. But yes, I absolutely love it. I love being able to use these flowers, even though they were meant for a home decor element. I absolutely love being able to use them up and getting them out of my stash. I love the people in my layout. So anyways, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it every day that you guys show up. Be sure to check out the playlist to see who all is playing along for Scraptember 2022. And check out the Facebook too for those that aren't just doing videos. That is an amazing place to hang out as well. And I will check y'all later. Bye.